February 26, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. I'm starting the video a little early. I got to cut out. And the overall shape looks like kind of a W structure. So pre-market, it was just kind of up here, sold off in a shallow leg down, then a sharper leg, sideways consolidation. Looks like another spike in a shallow leg, another sell-off here, and another pushback up. So it looks like a big W structure. The only economic data that came out was the unemployment claims at around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here, and it didn't really do too much. Overall, the day was kind of choppy. There were a few more setups. Well, actually, there weren't too many setups. There was probably like, I think, 3 setups identified. I took a trade, it was profitable. I tried to get a runner on this one, but it didn't pan out. The second possible trade, and then a third one I tried to take, but I missed because I'll get to it when I get there, but it was a little, I waited for the break and then it broke and it just kept going, hit my target profit before I even got my trade filled, so I had to cancel the order. So I'm gonna get into the trades right now. So pre-market looks like it was a push down, then it started to chop sideways up, and I drew this transparent up channel, which really doesn't help. But it did have like 3 confirmation touches on the high side, well actually low side and the high side. But again, this is in the pre-market, which I don't trade, but it's just more educational for myself. Creates a localized high and actually the high of day. Creates a first entry long pullback. Then it creates a second entry long failure. Now I call this an almost trade because at the time I thought, is there something here? But keep in mind, this is actually in the right at the open because it's a first entry, second entry. I did have this line established, but it's just too risky at the moment because I don't know how much I can trust this transparent up channel if this support is going to come into play. Because this is what I see in real time. I'm not necessarily ready to take a trade here because again, it's right at the open. This could have been a better setup if it closed the low and it didn't have this transparent up channel support potentially acting as a bounce point. Didn't mean to do that. Since I actually moved this by accident, let me fix this yellow down channel. I didn't mean to grab that. About right here. So it's a break of this orange down channel, break, test the low, starts moving sideways. EMA starting to come into play, act as resistance. There's a localized low, first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short here. I just didn't like the way the signal bar closed. It feels very tight trading right here because these candles are pretty much the same size and they're moving side by side, moving bullish upwards incrementally. EMA comes into play. The only way this could have been a better setup, well, not the only way, I would like this to have been a better setup by closing more at the lows. Now, it did close below the EMA, but again, I don't have this yellow down channel right now to trust and act as a key entry point. It doesn't really show up until about right here. So there's no actual setup here, in my opinion. Prices continue moving down, pushes up, then it starts moving sideways. You essentially just have a bunch of first entries here. You do kind of maybe have a hidden second entry short here, localized low, first entry short, pull back, push up, push back down, engulfing this guy. The reason this isn't a possible trade for me is because it's already testing the low of day. I don't want to be selling into the low. If the low of day, this red dotted line was more down here, gives you a little bit more room to trust, then I would take it. This range wasn't fully established yet because in real time, it's hard to know that I'm actually in a range. Then when prices print some more, then I do have a range. So then if prices continue moving, it sets up for my first trade. Actually, first and only trade. I did try to take a second trade, but it missed or it didn't get filled. You have a localized low, a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short, I also saw this, although it didn't touch the high side of this range. That was 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. So it's a triple test almost. First entry short, second entry short, decent signal bar. I waited for the break below and it actually broke below this guy. So it broke below this guy, came back, entered. Excuse me. On the second candle, it flushes through, fills my 6 tick profit target, and I move my stop from up here to one tick below the entry, and then I got filled. So then prices continue moving down, breaks in the low side, pushes up, breaks back down, breaks down, and continues moving on what I think is this yellow down channel that's being established now. Now, kind of an insight to what I was, didn't mean to do that. This is, I learned from my lesson, I did do a screen capture of the setup right after the trade was successful. And as you can see, I had a few of these different lines, which I thought was in play. And this yellow one was transparent at the time because I didn't fully trust it. But then here, I think I had it drawn slightly different than I do now. It was a small breakout, and I thought it was prices are going to move back in. So then later, this gray one, which I was initially playing at the time, I have since deleted. And it looked like it was more like this orange down channel and then this gray one. But this gray one didn't really pan out. Deleted it, made this yellow one the actual trade, or the actual channel that was trading. So prices moved down. There's a small breakout on this side. As I said, this is, let me go ahead and adjust this. This yellow down channel has drifted from what I initially had. This was a small breakout here, kind of has a symmetric breakout, localized low, actual low of day. First entry short pullback, second entry short, call it an almost trade because I really wanted, man, things are kind of, there we go. I really wanted this candle to break above this guy and then push down like it did, but unfortunately it didn't, so I call it an almost trade. You can trust that it's rejecting off this yellow down channel resistance, but seeing this, I wanted a lower high. You get a lower high that kind of shows up here, but actually I should have marked that. This is a lower high. I kind of discovered this in hindsight. I don't know why I didn't see it in real time. So there's a lower high. It is probably a trade right here because the first entry short, second entry short, lower high, EMA rejection. Looks like it's hitting the high side of this yellow down channel, so there's enough room to go to the low. So yeah, actually, if I try to take this trade, oh, I take it back. I think why it's a no trade is because even though it's a, excuse me, lower high, I had it as a higher low previously, it never broke below this guy. If it did and it continued like this, I'd probably, actually, I don't know if I would have gotten stopped out because I think I learned my lesson. I would have kept my stop above this thing. But that's neither here nor there. This trade setup never quite set up not favorably. Prices moved down as orange down channel break, test the low. As it kept drifting down, I couldn't reconcile and get any channels to fit super well. So this was what I was thinking of at the time. It didn't really quite fit well, but it looked like it fit in this blue down channel pretty well. So I went ahead and deleted this. If you kept it, it didn't really change the overall outcome because you still have a break of this blue, test low, and it continues sideways. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this for clarity because I had it one time, but I didn't like it, and I trusted the blue one a little bit more. Localized low and low of day, first entry short, second entry short. I didn't mark it as any kind of trade. I really wanted EMA rejection. I think this blue down channel needs to break and test the low, so it does have that going for it, but it just didn't quite set up completely. Pushes down, tests low, starts moving sideways. Sideways trading range consolidation. So it's like a new low, first entry short, second entry short, count resets. This is definitely a localized new low, not a new low, but a localized swing low. First entry short, second entry short pushes up, pushes down. I saw a fail breakout here. I didn't label it, but I was thinking at the time, there's a fail breakout here. Could there be a fail breakout on this side? And it creates that. So it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is an inside bar. I didn't really like that. So now I'm looking for something in this range for higher low, but it never shows up. Comes back to the close to the high side, then comes back down. Just moves sideways. Kind of sitting in my hands at this point. Pushes down, hits a new low of day. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. This doesn't set up nicely because this signal bar inside to this guy, and it closes near the upper part. So I'm looking and waiting again. Pushes up, breaks out of this green up channel, just kind of sideways here. Pushes test the high. Again, I tried to make all this, so seeing this, I'm trying to make all this price action fit by drawing different channels. And this is what I had at one time, but it doesn't quite look right. So I had something like this at one time, this orange one, that broke out, and I said, it doesn't quite look right. I later discovered maybe it's this tighter green one. Actually, I had this green one a little earlier, and then that orange one was overlapping, and I was thinking maybe the green one wasn't going to be the one in play. Then it actually spikes and starts moving the shallow channel. I decided on the shallow channel after I saw one touch, two touch, three touch, and during my channel drawing, I saw this one kind of fit pretty well. So I established it as the potential yellow up channel, spike in a channel going up. You have a localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. This second entry long, I thought it was a possible trade, but it is a little more aggressive because from here to here, you barely have any room to scalp out. Now, you really only have two ticks, or maybe three. The way I would have played this, I saw it completed and kept going, and I thought, well, I don't feel too bad. The reason I liked it was new high, first entry long, second entry long. I liked this candle broke below this guy and then engulfed it completely. And during the life of the candle, like the ticks remaining, it was floating and it was about to close and it was staying decisively above this. So if I wanted to take a trade, I would have taken it above this bar. But unfortunately, if this bar wasn't a clean signal bar, if it ended green and it did what it just did, I think I might have tried to enter it on the engulfing to reduce the risk, but I definitely wouldn't have taken it after this bar closed because as I said, there's about three ticks, not enough for even a 1 point scalp, and it would leave me a little concerned. The next stop would have been the high side of this yellow up channel. Then prices continue moving sideways. Now this is just choppy sideways. It's confirming this yellow up channel pretty nicely. There's a small break, but I consider it pretty much holding this resistance, in the support. Localized low, first entry short, pullback. Technically have a second entry short, not a good setup. Inside bar, pushes up, crits to the high side of this yellow up channel. So this yellow up channel is like proving itself pretty clean. So I have a localized high, say first entry long, pullback. It's about to create a second entry long, and it's holding on this resistance. This support. I saw this. I thought this is a break of this orange down channel. It's first attempt down. Is it really going to come back down and test it? I believe the strength of this orange up, this yellow up channel is strong enough to see a push back up, bouncing off the EMA, bouncing off this support. Decent signal bar. The only thing that would have gotten me just to enter the trade immediately was if it closed at the high. So this is how the miss occurred. It opened, came down, and as soon as it came down, it reversed really quickly. As soon as it broke above this signal bar, I entered my trade one tick above. So it pushes up. It already gets the 4 tick scalp, but I wasn't going for 4 ticks. I go for 6. And then it moves up 6 ticks, and then it kept going. And then by the time, when it already got to 6 ticks, I realized I missed the trade. I don't want to keep it here. Have it move up to here, then expect it to go from here, move all because this is already 4 points away. Move all the way back down to pick me up, then demand that it pushes back up. Because by the time it moves all the way back down here, I'm in real danger of it continuing downwards. So after I missed a trade, I lost it. I entered on a limit order, so I had to wait till this broke above, drop my order in. Now I think the way to have entered it, and if I was more confident in the setup and this closed high, I would have dropped a stop buy limit order up here, dragged it down to 1 tick above here or at the highs here, and then it would have picked me up, filled me, and all this would have occurred, I think, in under like 3 seconds because this happened rapidly, at least the 6 tick move that I was asking of it. But I missed it. I was okay. A little bit bummed because this looked pretty solid. Prices then break out of this yellow up channel, moves down this orange down channel. Looks like a break, test the low, and it kept going. So I'm not sure this orange down channel is really in play now. This gray down channel doesn't exist yet. It reverses up on this green up channel. It's since drifted. I had it a little bit tighter. Ninja Trader seems to do that sometimes. There we go. Pushes down, bounces, localized high, first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it's inside to this, so I count it as one visual, and it's the same color, so I said it's a visual first, second. It's only a double bottom, not enough for triple test consideration, so I'd leave it alone. Pushes, starts moving up, Starts moving down. At this point, I established this support line because I said there's 3 touches. And I said, could there potentially be a trading range developing? So I kind of established it here. Localized high, first entry long. Technically, I have a second entry long multiple test. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. But the second entry long is terrible. Prices moved up. It looks like it's one leg pullback, 2 legs down. I'm not 100% sure I know what's going on. Bad signal bar. Don't try to attempt, don't try, not trying to attempt to take a trade here because there's nothing here. I need a higher low with a decisive break above the EMA. But then the other requirement would be with enough room before I hit the high side here. So that's asking a lot for this really tight range. It doesn't show up, so it's kind of, answers all doubts of where if I need to try to take a trade or not. So it's moving sideways, pushes the high side. At this point, I think this could be the range. There's a fail breakout here, potential fail breakout on this side. Starts pressing down. At this point, I do have this gray channel established now because I drew this as a trend line coming down. It has been tweaked a little bit. Now try to find the low side. So it's 2 touches on the low side, 3 touches on the high side. I trust the resistance more as a key entry point than support because overall bias is bearish or going down. So if it ever comes back up to here, I'd be looking for a trade. Pushes down as orange down channel. First entry long, pullback. You technically have a second entry long, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. New low, first entry short. You technically have a second entry short here, but it's not the cleanest. I don't really like this inside bar. Pushes down. I thought, is there a sub yellow down channel here? But again, it really only confirms 1 touch, 2 touch, maybe 3, 2 times at the low side. Not the cleanest setup, not the cleanest channel that I fully trust. Localized low, first entry short, pull back. You technically have a second entry short here. If you really trusted this gray down channel, which I kind of do, at least the resistance side. But the thing that's stopping me is this this signal bar setup isn't the cleanest. I like that it engulfs it, but I don't like that this big tail here. That means sellers were able to push it down, but buyers before the close of this candle were able to rally and push it back up. So it leaves it as a little ambiguous. Drops around. If I tried to take it and I was entered on this candle likely would have stopped me out. Pushes up. Initially, I was thinking of linking the low side here. I had this at one time drawn. I'm going to go ahead and color it in just to see, remind myself what my thinking was at the time. I thought we were in this channel, but it broke, pulled back, and kept going. So it became too aggressive. So this yellow up channel doesn't exist yet. I was playing the orange and then potentially this green one. Pushes up, breaks to the green, continues to the high. When I see these two, I drew a trend line to touch these two. I tried to see if this trend line copy and paste would create a channel. And I did end up with this yellow one, but at this stage, I don't trust it too much. I think this orange one isn't valid. Well, it might be valid, but it's not in play. It's not something I need to worry about. So it disappears. Prices move up. Break. First entry long pullback. Second entry long, terrible signal bar. It coincidentally touches here. So I did have to tweak it just slightly, like I'm about to do now, to make sure it touches. So it's 2 touches and then maybe 3 touches, 1 touch, 2 touch, a third touch. No clean setups yet. Pushes up. No second entries. Now it's kind of in the middle of what I think is the range moving up, but it's not the cleanest right now. It's not fully confirmed. Pushes back down. So it's just a first entry long. Technically, on a lower time frame, you have a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Unfortunately, on the 2000 tick chart that I'm trading, it never breaks. So it doesn't really give me a decisive clean push up, another decisive clean push up. So it's only technically a first entry long. But visual, it looks like it's almost like a first entry, second entry long here, but I have to kind of skip it. No, there is a higher low here, but it's far from the EMA, a little bit just kind of out there. It is bouncing off this yellow up channel support, but not good enough. Pushes up some more. You do have a second entry long here, first entry long pullback, second entry long. It's a little bit, I didn't really like that it broke through. I want an EMA touch. Hits the high side. Well, actually enters this yellow up channel and I looked at this yellow up channel, I noticed there's so much empty space. I drew this transparent one, as you can see here. Doesn't fit the best, so I never colored it in. Localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. There's not really a triple test. Bounce off. There could potentially be a triple test here, but now it's a first entry, second entry, third entry. It's kind of, I'm going to mark it as a potential triple test, but didn't really like it, looking for a higher low. Then there's a higher low here, but then around this time I decided to start making my video, so I haven't really reviewed what's happened since then. Looks like not too much. I didn't miss too much. There's a little bit of choppiness here and a very shallow move up. It is in the last 10 minutes. So kind of how it looked like today. One trade, happy with it. Tried to get a runner, but it was unsuccessful. And then missed on the second setup. Now, I've missed trades before by being a little more conservative, trying to enter on a limit, but I'm trying to think of more, or trying to look at it the other side now, of entering on a stop limit order to try to ensure I get an entry if the setup looks very solid, but I have to get more confident in my read of the charts. So hopefully that was helpful.